My name is Dylan Leggett. I'm the founding member of Draconicus and I play lead guitar in the band. I also write the majority of the music and I also do vocals from time to time.
Hi, my name is PlunderSteed. On any other day in Draconicus, you'd see me playing bass. In this project we did things a little bit differently, so my main job here was to write section 4 and play the piano and synthesizer parts.
Hello, my name is Michael, or SXP, and I play guitar and do some other stuff for Draconicus.
The concept for this piece is based on the character Discord from the show My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Discord in a sense is a god, and he represents the quality of chaos and disharmony. He is a mischievous, playful, unsympathetic god, and he often uses his powers for his own amusement and pleasure. When we started writing this song, we decided that the best way to represent Discord's character would be to have the structure of the song based on his personality. The structure of the song is as follows. Chaos, music uses odd time signatures and is in the chromatic scale. Goofy, music is very over the top and uses funk-styled influences. Neutral acts as a transition into the evil section and mixes themes from the good and evil. Evil, music is metal stylized and uses a lot of dissonant riffs and progressions. Good contrasts heavily with the evil section and is very soft, relaxed and cheerful. A goofy reprise, similar to the first Goofy section but with some progression. And chaos reprise, similar to the first chaos section but with some progression. The reasoning behind this structure is at the center of Discord's personality, and also the center of the song, is a duality between good and evil, which we'll get into later. Surrounding that is a very humorous, immature, goofy part of Discord, and surrounding that is a very random, destructive, chaotic part of Discord, which plays into everything that he does. While writing this song, whenever we came up with a musical idea, we would write it and or notate it and then upload it to Google Drive, SoundCloud, or even directly into the Skype chat. We would then all give our feedback on that musical idea, and then we would just simply work from there until we had a full song that we were completely satisfied with. We're now going to go through the whole song bit by bit to explain what our reasoning, our influence, and our train of thought was when writing this song. Before the song begins, there is a quick quote from Discord which reads, quote,
"Makes sense. Oh, what fun is there in making sense?"
End quote. This is Discord's first line in the whole show, and it very much represents his character. Discord is a rule breaker and a rebel and doesn't care for the norms of society and doesn't care for using sense and logic. We try to reflect this attitude in the song by using odd time signatures and a wide variety of musical ideas and styles. The use of this quote also establishes that the song is about Discord, and it also gives a quick reference as to who Discord is if the listener is unfamiliar with him. I wanted to open up the song as if the listener was waking up in a storm and didn't know where they were. I thought the best way to do this was to open the song with a bombastic and chaotic sound. The main riff of the song alternates between 14/8 and 13/8 and is very much in the chromatic scale. I think this is a very effective way of opening up the song. It grabs the listener's attention and it makes them feel uneasy. But most importantly, it makes them interested to see where the song is going, which is exactly what you want to do in the opening of the song.
For the song intro, the main idea is to introduce the main riff that you're going to hear throughout the piece. And for my part with the synthesizer, the idea is to complement the lead guitar and provide kind of a little bit of a weird texture that feels a little otherworldly, maybe a little bit eerie. And this is kind of unusual for a Draconicus piece because although almost all of our songs do have synthesizer parts, it's a bit uncommon for the synthesizer to follow the lead melody. Normally it's augmenting other areas of the palette, but for this one we wanted to kind of give it that prominent lead melody to provide bookends. You'll hear it both at the beginning and the end of the song to kind of wrap things up.
I was asked by Dylan to write the rhythm part for the first section, So I decided to go with simple power chords just to give the section more punch and complement the leads that Dylan wrote.
I honestly think that this part of the chaos section is a little bit amateurish. It's not really a musical phrase, it's just more of a pattern. But this part of the song does work well in transitioning into the goofy section of the song. And it also adds to the themes that were previously introduced in the chaos section. I wanted the goofy section of the song to have a hard contrast with the previous section of the song, the chaos section. Going on with the storm metaphor that I mentioned earlier, this would be as if the storm just suddenly disappeared, as if it never happened. I honestly think this is how Discord would work. He would distract you and make you think that the storm's over, the trouble's gone, when really it's all just part of the plan to deceive you. But musically, this song is very funk influenced and it's very upbeat and quirky. In this second half of the goofy section, I thought it'd be cool to have some fun with some drum fills. I was hoping to get a drummer for this song and he could, expand on the drum fills that I already wrote, but of course that never happened. This part of the song acts as an interlude before the next part of the song, which is a lot more somber and serious, whereas this is just a lot of fun, it's very novel. Hard contrast. I like my contrast.
For my solo, I decided to improvise a bit and then refine it. So basically I did a few takes, then listened to them and I chose the ones I liked, and then I worked a bit more and basically it kind of evolved into the final version of it. I would say that my biggest inspiration for this solo would be Guthrie Govan. It's kind of jazzy, not exactly heavy stuff, but well, unfortunately I can't play as good as him, so it's much simpler.
This part of the neutral section, Unsettling Change, acts as a transition into the evil section. I always wanted the evil section of the song to be the climax of the song. I wanted it to be the standout point in the song. So I knew I needed something to build into that part of the song, something to really complement the evil section of the song and let it shine, I guess. So the idea of this part, Unsettling Change, was to give a taste, a sample of what's to come in the evil section. And I think this part of the song achieved that fairly well. I think it's lacking a little bit of substance, as it only really works around one musical idea. Even with a couple of key changes thrown in, it's still a little bit repetitive after a while. I think if SXP and I talked a bit more and sort of communicated what we wanted this section of the song to do, we could have made something really good and made something that complements the evil section of the song really well. But as is, I think this section of the song is pretty good.
Section 3, the evil section. It's supposed to represent the evil part of Discord, so it's heavy, it's metal, and it's a bit chaotic. It also serves as the background for Dylan's leads. I wanted to use the low range of my 7th string because I don't use it much in the rest of the song, and I think it would be kind of a waste. I used some odd time signatures in the main riff and in the solo section. There are some dissonant chords. I also used the chromatic scale to make it sound more intense, more chaotic. Initially I also wrote a few more riffs, but we decided to leave them out to make the sections sound more consistent.
So for the evil section of the song, I had a rather large solo to deal with, one that lasted for over a minute. And I just want to say this now, I really do not enjoy doing solos. For me, they're just a lot of work and the whole experience is very stressful. SXP originally wanted the solo to be heavily influenced by Slayer, using a lot of fast, mindless riffs and, as he put it, whammy bar abuse. I didn't really want to go with that direction, mostly because I don't think that style of playing makes for a great solo, and I never really got into Slayer to begin with. So, how did I write this solo? Well, my criteria for the solo, or my goals I guess, was 1, to keep the solo progressively building by introducing new musical ideas and getting faster and more chaotic as the solo played out. And keep it interesting for the listener so they don't get bored of the solo halfway through. I also wanted to stick close to what the rhythm guitars were doing. So, emphasizing the notes that the rhythm guitars were playing and keeping to the same pacing as the rhythm guitars, and overall just sort of adding to what they were already doing. But most importantly, I wanted the solo to be engaging and interesting for a musician as well as a non-musician, which is actually a lot harder than it may sound, and I can't really say if I was successful at that.
For section 4, I'm going to touch on a few different aspects of it. We're going to talk about the writing, the characterization that went into it, and the end result. So for the writing, it's interesting to see how I actually wrote 2 completely different versions of this section that are unrecognizable from the version that ends up in the final song that you can hear. And the first version, we always refer to this as the good section. We knew early on that we wanted it to portray the good aspects of Discord's personality, and the working title that we used all along was Cucumber Sandwiches, which is a reference to a joke he made in the season 4 finale. And the first version that I wrote was entirely piano driven. It was much slower than the rest of the song and a lot more subdued. And we liked it, but when we kind of looked at it in the context of the entire song, it just it didn't seem to quite fit in musically. So I went back to the drawing board, came up with something that was a little bit faster, a little bit heavier. It fit in musically, but again, when we pieced all the parts together, we found that it just didn't really convey the theme that we were going for this section. So in the third version that you'll hear, it's still a little bit slower, more deliberate than the rest of the song. And the deliberate thing, I think, was key to me in the characterization we were trying to portray for this aspect of his personality. It's a little bit melancholy, and this reflects the idea that Discord has to kind of force himself to be nice, to play along with others and not think of himself quite as much. As a result, he feels he's kind of lost part of himself, where he's very old, he's used to doing things his own way for so long, that once he's having to compromise a little bit, it doesn't come easily. So he's ultimately decided that it's worse to be alone than to not have his way all the time. And the end result is a musical piece that feels a little bit bittersweet, but has a kind of triumphant feel in the end. And what we were hoping to accomplish was to take this new energy and inject it into section 5, the reprise of the main melody that we heard earlier on, but doing so in a way that gives a little bit more context.
Ending the song, we have a reprise of the Goofy section from earlier, and then after this we have a reprise of the Chaos section. There's not a lot I can actually say about these reprises, as they're reprises. I already talked about these sections before, but I can say that we decided to do these reprises because it sort of symbolizes that Discord's sense of goofiness and ludicrousy, surrounds everything in his personality, and it plays into everything that he does. It also brings the song full circle. It feels like the song is coming to an end when this reprise starts to play. And, if we just did 2 different sections, I feel like this song would just kind of feel like a medley. It would just feel like 5 different songs just sewn together, and you could just rearrange them in any order and it wouldn't matter. But when we do these reprises, it does give the song structure a bit more purpose and a bit more reasoning, I guess. Same as the Goofy reprise from before, the Chaos reprise represents how Discord's sense of disorder and chaos embodies everything that he does and plays into every part of his personality. This time though, the Chaos section ends a lot more climactically with the all the instruments getting a lot more rhythmical and faster and intense, and it feels like a great way to end a song, you know, with a big bang, I guess. And I believe that is everything in the song. Thank you for watching this video. Discord Tells It His Way has probably been one of our hardest and most involved pieces to put together. The feedback we've been getting on the song has been very encouraging, and we're looking forward to getting more feedback in the future. Over the course of this project, we have learnt a lot about writing as a band, as well as collaborating online in general. This project was a lot of fun to put together, and we're hoping to do more like it in the future. I'm Dylan from Draconquest, and thank you for your time.